abilities?
Okay, so there's a couple of pieces to consider in that in the answer to that. Public schools have a responsibility to find individuals with disabilities.
Okay.
So it's known as child find. So anywhere you live in the United States, your local public school district needs to find your son or daughter if they present a disability or suspect of having one. So with that being the case, there are programs that have been established since the mid-70s to be responsive to that kind of need.
Okay.
Therefore, there's a history and there's a certain level of expertise that's been developed that's existed in the public schools for a long time to meet the needs of kids who are multiple disability or have a significant physical disability.
Okay.
So that's part of the circumstance. Another piece that's involved is funding as it relates to class sizes.
Right.
So a lot of times for students that are significantly impacted, maybe they have significant autism or perhaps they have Down syndrome like you were saying, their program is often an 8-to-1 ratio where their classes will be 7 other kids and there will often be 1 or 2 adult para-educators that work with the teacher.
Okay.
So to create that possibility requires funding. So to go back to your other question, those funds are put in place through federal funding often, so that they guarantee that there's money to pay the bills for.
Right.
So a private school doesn't have that built into the budget as that's
right.
sort of one answer, part of the answer. Another piece to that is when you're building, or when any school is building a program for kids with disabilities, one of the key considerations is inclusion. So inclusion for students with significant disabilities often looks different from students that maybe have like attention deficits and they have a resource room class. So in order to make inclusion happen also requires a lot of coordination among staff. It requires often support like a paraeducator. And so a lot of those pieces that need to be in place, they require funding, but they also require a history of being able to do it. So a lot of private schools don't have a long history of having an environment where they have a combination of maybe students with significant disabilities, students with mild disabilities, college preparatory students.
Right.
And that becomes the issue, is how do you create a culture where everybody's included.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then lastly, do you like teaching at a private institution?
Sure.
Significant?
Yeah.
Fun, and would you,
It's really fun, yeah, and I would recommend other people consider this sort of work. I would like to see other Catholic high schools or other high schools comparable to LaSalle begin to develop programs like ours. I'd love to see our program get to a point someday where we can provide a wider range of programming options, and that really speaks to how we create funding to do it and how we create a culture with the students and the staff where we could be inclusive for students that maybe present intellectual challenges that are a bit more severe than what we have presently, or physical challenges. I'd say what's really fun about teaching here at LaSalle is that we have things like peer tutors and student Signum Fidei assistants who play a role in our classes, which I find to be a really neat experience for the students and for me as the teacher and for the group of students that are learning from their peers. I definitely think that we have a unique circumstance here at LaSalle where we have total support from the people that run our school and the staff members that have been here for a long time. So it makes it possible for us to do creative lesson planning here. And it makes it possible for us to make suggestions about things that haven't been done before that is not met with resistance and is met with, oh, that's creative and let's try to do that. And you know, I think of some field trips we've taken, and I think of some experiential learning we've done, like the radioactive river obstacle course in the courtyard. Those sort of things aren't really possible to do if the school isn't totally supportive of what we're trying to accomplish. So yeah, I would definitely say it's something I'd recommend.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys.